Hey, welcome to the Pillowfort. We were just talking about Hunter x Hunter. This week we're going over the Yorknew City arc, which is from episodes 37 to 58 if you're watching the show with us. And if you're reading along with us, that's chapters 64 to 119. With me as always, my name is Luke, and with me I have...
Cliff, hello.
Shania, hi.
Kate, what's up?
All right, so now that we're getting, there is so much in this arc. This is a huge arc to talk about. There's a ton to cover, and so I'm sure that we're going to be jumping all over the place. But I think before we kind of jump into the whole Yorknew City stuff, I think we ought to start going over those first two episodes, because I imagine you guys probably have thoughts about the first two episodes. I'm talking about Gon and Killua on Whale Island, the stuff with Jing, the record tape and all that stuff. So I just kind of wanted to get Shania and Kate, just your thoughts on the tape and all the stuff with Jing. What were your first impressions? We'll start with Shania.
All right, well, for Jing, I guess, so first I thought he was really cool, and I thought that was super mysterious and fun until it gets to the part of the recording where he's like, I don't want to see you, and I'm like, Jing, you cannot be the worst dad. Also, love and respect his aunt, totally, but, I want to know about the mom. So when he did not play the full tape, I was like, come on, Gon, I don't care that you're content within yourself. I am not content with not knowing this part of the story. So those are my two big takeaway on Gon's parents.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that after Gon found out what actually had happened to his mom, or supposedly what had happened to his mom, he still viewed Aunt Mito as his mom, as his actual mom. I thought that was kind of interesting, because I think that's probably would be unusual for a kid regularly finding out about their mom and everything. But I thought it was really cool that in a true hunter fashion, Jean sent his son on a mission to find him, but then we saw at the end that kind of strange part where he said he doesn't want to see him.
Yeah. What did you guys think about that specifically? Kind of stuck out to me as Jing's I don't really want to see you. What did you feel anything specific about that? Either one of you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel if I was Gon, waiting that long to become a hunter and finally receiving this information that could lead me to my father, hearing his voice and then just being told, I don't want to see you. That, I just hurt for Gon myself on the inside, honestly.
Yeah, that was the moment I knew I didn't have what it took to be a hunter, because I would just I would hear those words in recording, and I would just be in a ball being do you even understand what I did to get this far? To get this stupid box? But Gon's not faced. He's just all right, new challenge accepted. And I'm like, Gon, you are an emotional fortress. I don't even understand.
The emotional stability, honestly, is amazing.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, Cliff, do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to add on that? I didn't know if you had any specific feelings about Jing in this part.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too. I think I almost interpret it as not that he's saying I don't want to see you, even though that's exactly what he said, but it's just almost if you want to see me, you got to prove that you're my son. You got to be you could really feel how much Jing likes himself. That's kind of the vibe I got. Is he's a really cocky guy. And if he if his son wants to see him, he's got to prove himself worthy, which I think is cool. And I also agree that it would have been really cool to learn about his mom, but that's so cute that he likes Mito that much. He doesn't even want to hear it. The mom's her own person. I'm sure she has a lot of thoughts, but what a sweet little boy. He's got one mom. That's nice.
Yeah,
That was a very...
Oh, go ahead, Kate. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that was a very, wholesome Gon and Mito moment right there.
Yeah, I definitely, I kind of like that. I feel like it fits with like who going in. Again, we're going with that like simple kind of straightforward mindset of like, yeah, this is my mom. It just, it's another thing that Gon does that's just like, you are exactly what an enhancer is supposed to be. Simple-minded, straightforward, you know what I mean? So I thought it was cool. I definitely like that. But, so yeah, moving on, we saw a ton of Nen abilities in this arc. Like,
can I say one thing real quick?
Oh yeah, please go ahead, Cliff.
If we're in the cute wholesome zone, I just want to take a stop and say that Killua like establishing his kind of goal for the series to be like Gon's buddy, like that their little like night under the stars was like that made me really happy. That was a great little scene we had there. I like Killua.
Yeah, that was a really nice bro moment. It was very heartwarming, and then Killua's response to just be like, Gon, you have no idea how embarrassing you are right now. I was like, shut up, Killua. Enjoy the bro moment under the stars, please.
They broed so hard. It was so beautiful. But that's all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stop there for a second. I like Killua.
Yeah, no, and I'm interested to talk about even other moments with, that dynamic. I think really is there's a lot of things in this arc that I think highlight that, but yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, we get a lot of Nen in this arc. A lot. Obviously, we experienced very little of it, prior to this in the series, but we've seen a lot of new specific Nen abilities. So my question is, and we'll start with Kate this time, what do you think is the most interesting Nen ability that we've seen so far in the whole series? It doesn't have to just be this arc, but, I mean, there's a lot in this arc. But the most interesting, so not necessarily your favorite, but it could be, whatever interested you the most. Go ahead.
Yeah, wow. What a question. I mean, there are so many Nen abilities. Probably, honestly, the most interesting, and it's my favorite too, honestly, is Kurapika's Nen abilities. Like, when I first saw that, and as we discovered more about, like, the chain, like, his chain-using abilities, like, I was just so interested in how he did that, and, like, the contracts that he would make, and just, at first when I kind of saw the chain thing, I was like, okay, like, that's fine, but as we discovered, like, more about, like, the bond-making stuff and all that, I was so interested and so down for it.
Yeah, Kurapika was super cool. With definitely, instead of calling it the Yorknew City arc, I would just call it the Kurapika becomes the coolest Nen user alive arc, but that's just my personal thoughts. But actually, like, my favorite Nen, I think, and maybe this is like the low-hanging fruit for this arc, but like, whatever Krollo's got going on, like, his book and like taking all of these different abilities, like, I want to know so much more about like what all he can do and how he can do it, because I wasn't totally sure if they explained how he was able to take other people's abilities, but like, I don't know if I just missed that, but I was still like super interested in how that all worked and what all was in that book of his.
Yeah, they do make it like really weird. Like, it's like he can steal abilities, we don't know how, and there's like no indicator of how like easy it is, because he steals a power from like the dumbest character in the show, and then the people he can't steal from are like two Zoldycks trying to fight him at the same time. So we have no idea how difficult it is to pull off, which is a cool mystery. And that's definitely one of the coolest, because it's kind of like technically all of them with enough motivation. And I think I liked Machi a lot last time. I still like Machi. Her powers are like so good for everything. Like, they're so, like, the marionette stuff is cool. The healing, like, just, it's not even, it's putting limbs back on and they're just fine. It's like, it's a really cool power. And then I think some cool application. I like that Finks is just an enhancer who just breaks your neck. Like, that's what he does. That's like how he uses his powers. Pretty sweet. Phaeton too, also, just like, they just like to ruin head areas. The little guy.
Yeah. Also for Nen abilities, since I'm just obsessed with every character I've met in this arc, I want to give an honorable mention to, I cannot think of her name right now, but she's got that vacuum that sucks everything up. And I'm like,
Shizuku is her name.
Yeah, Shizuku. Thank you, Kate. But yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
just like she came out of nowhere and I'm like, did she just hit a man with a vacuum? And then I'm like, wait a minute, does that vacuum have a mouth? And I was like, that's such a dope thing as a conjurer to be like, yeah, you know, the thing I'm gonna make is just this man-eating vacuum cleaner. Like, that's it. That's my item. I'm like, what out of the box thinking, Shizuku? Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. And like low-key, Melody also has like a very useful Nen ability. Like I didn't love it when she was introduced, but like over the course of the arc, that became really cool.
Yeah, no. I think I would say that the most interesting one to me is, I believe it's called the Heavenly Ghostwriter. It's Neon Nostrad's ability that Crollo then steals later to do the fortunes. What makes me think, like, why I'm so interested in it is it seems like they seem to indicate that it's 100% accurate in its predictions, but it turns out that, like, you can manipulate that based on how you act, which would mean that it isn't 100%. I'm just interested in the whole future sight thing in general in stories and how, like, they implement it. So I like the Heavenly Ghostwriter, and I thought it was cool that it writes it in, like, little poems. And the poems are, like, nice to look at. So, yeah, I liked that one.
I just want to talk about one more Nen ability that I found really interesting was melodies. I just thought that it was so cool that she could actually sense whether people were lying or not from being able to listen to their heartbeat. I thought that became so useful, like over the course of time to like Kurapika and everyone else, because she could tell when people were lying. Like, I just thought that was a really cool ability.
Yeah, no, it's Melody is really cool. That leads me very nicely into my next question, which Cliff will actually start with you this time. But so we got introduced to a lot of the members of the Mafia, right? Like all of them. Shadow Beasts, Nostrad bodyguards, a bunch of these Mafia members. So I just kind of wanted to see how you guys felt. Like, who do you think had the coolest, like, design? And then who was your favorite and why? So, like I said, Cliff, we'll start with you.
I like the dog guy, Squalla. I like everything about that guy. I feel like he was like designed. Like if you read like a writing 101 book, he's like from the ground up built to be like, what if you got really sad because a guy died? Like that's how I feel like Togashi wrote Squalla. Like he loves dogs. He loves his wife. He's trying to get out of the business. This was his last job. And then you get really sad when he dies.
Yeah, Squalla was a fun character, but I also liked, as much as the Shadow Beasts were a bit of a disappointment, I don't know, I'm always a fan of, like, the kind of cutesy characters, so I liked Porcupine a lot, just his whole response in that fight, and I felt so bad when the poor guy's eardrums got blown up, because he was, like, so sure. He's like, I got this one in the bag, guys, it's great. And then Uvu screams, and I'm like, oh, well, it was nice knowing you, Porcupine. This was a good time.
Yeah, I think, like, my favorite probably out of, like, the gang members and everything is gonna be still Melody. Just, like I said before, because I think her powers are really interesting, and also, I really like the way that her character complements Kurapika really well. Like, the fact that she can play a melody to calm him down, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, I forgot that Melody was part of that group. Melody's definitely the best character introduced in that set. Melody rocks.
Yeah, I think Melody is, like, probably definitely the most fleshed out of the Mafia members. But if I had to say the coolest design, and this is what I think is the coolest thing ever, is I think his name was Basho or, like, Bosho or something. Like, he's the guy with the pompadour and the huge mutton chops, and he writes haikus. I love the way that man looks. He's definitely my favorite design. But he also does not a lot. So my favorite member, I agree with Cliff. My favorite member is Squalla. I think Squalla is like I think what you said was awesome. Like, he's just perfectly set up to be like, how sad could you be if someone died? And then he did. Like, and I love when he's sitting in the car and he's like, I've been doing this a long time, and so I know, I get a feeling that this is the last time. Like, there was something about that, like, he was like, I know I'm going to die here, that was like a little chilling. I don't know, just, it got to me. I felt got to.
Oh, so, dude, when he lets his dogs out to be like, run free, like, this is it, it's like, oh no, Squalla.
It's so sad. The dogs aren't going to the dogs are fine, but Squalla's not going to make it. And he, like, cares so much for the dogs, too, which I liked seeing. Like, he's a manipulator, obviously, but he's not, like, he's not just, like, using the dogs as, like, cannon fodder. He cares about them.
And then it got super emotional, like the moment, he dies, and then it cuts to Eliza, however they say it in there, and she just, like, looks out the window, and it's like, oh, she could feel it. She felt it happen, and then that, like, edged up the emotions a notch. She's like, oh, Squalla, there was so much you had planned. Like, that's sad.
So, yeah, let me get also, kind of while we're on this, Shania, you touched on it a little bit. So the Shadow Beasts are like, we're supposed to be like the Mafia's top guys, right? These 10 guys are like the strongest guys in the Mafia. They're kind of the muscle. How did you guys feel about the Shadow Beasts kind of as a group, even, how'd you feel about, Kate, we'll start with you. Thoughts on the Shadow Beasts?
Give me a second. I'm trying to find, like, their names so I can...
If it's helpful, it's whatever they do. Porcupine is prickly. Leech vomits leeches. Worm is maybe a human worm.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, I actually did like Worm. That's the one that I was thinking about. Just because I thought that his design was very creepy. And also, like, his abilities were pretty, like, interesting to me. Like, he really thought that, like, he had the Phantom Troop member. I can't remember his name right now, but, like, it was kind of sad to see him go, but, yeah, I just thought his design was, like, kind of menacing in a way that I feel like fits, like, the Shadow Beast title,
Yeah, I feel like overall the Shadow Beasts were sort of underwhelming. Like, I know when I said favorite Mafia, I picked out Porcupine, and that's because I got a thing for the cutesy characters. But, like, they started out so hype, and they were described as, like, being these amazing fighters, these amazing everything, and then they showed up, and they were, like, cool for, like, 5 seconds, and then they were just nothing. And then they got cool again when Owl showed up, and I was like, okay, he's gonna do something cool. He trapped one of the guys in his, like, little blanket thing, and then he very quickly died too, and I'm like, okay, so you guys were a bit overhyped here, or maybe the Phantom Troop was underhyped, but I was like, you're cool, but I'm a little disappointed.
I just real quick before we move on, does anyone else think that Porcupine is cute? Is it just Shania? Because I did not think he was cute at all.
He's cute in like
opposite.
Like
if he
Danny
walked up to me on this
kind of way.
Do you think Danny DeVito is cute?
He's just like a little man. He's like a little small middle-aged man who's fun to look at.
And he says yup after everything he says, and I'm like, you got a cute little, like, voice quirk thing? Don't shame me for the things I find cute, alright?
Listen, if I'm in the minority here, that's fine. I'm just saying.
I mean, I wouldn't call him cute.
Thank you.
But, like...
Thank you.
Maybe...
If that walked up to you on the street, you walk the other way, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just short man, tracksuit, bald, no eyebrows. You'd walk the other way.
I definitely wouldn't walk up and be like, "Aw."
Yeah, you wouldn't be patting him on the head. I'm sorry. I had to just highlight that. Because I didn't think he was cute. All right, but that leads quite nicely into the Phantom Troop. Maybe the biggest addition to the series that we got in this arc, debatably, but definitely a huge group that, in my opinion, was super cool. But I was just kind of looking for just general thoughts first. Let's just get it all about the whole troop, the whole thing. Maybe not super specific at first, but, I'm sure we'll get there. Kate, give me your whole thoughts on your first encounter with the Phantom Troop.
Okay, well, I thought, first of all, the vibe, I guess, that Crollo gave off was so cool to me, and just the fact that we see, like, Hisoka, which is a member that obviously we've seen before, that now we know is a part of the Phantom Troop, like, his desire to also, like, fight him, like, makes you very interested in Crollo, and, like, Crollo as the, like, head of the spider that they talk about him. Like, I thought it was super interesting that all of the troop members were so different, and, like, having criminal backgrounds and everything, but they come together for this gang and, like, will follow their leader and be there for the rest of the members of the troop. I thought, like, their bond with each other was so incredible, and I think that just makes them so much stronger.
Yeah, I definitely found that to be a fascinating part of the troop, because when you first meet them, they sound like just like this rough and tough group, and then they sound really disjointed when you first meet them, like, oh, we're never together, but then we'll join up for, some event when the leader calls us, and then you actually see how much they care about each other and how much of a bond they have. But at the same time, like, I don't know that Crollo shares that, because, like, his whole thoughts and his whole thing is like, oh, I'm irrelevant, I'm just the leader, like, move on without me, basically. And it seems like none of them are willing to do that, which makes me curious, like, what is the tie that really bonds them together? Because you can see that they're bonded, but, like, they haven't really shown, like, any specific, like, event or thing that has, like, pulled them each into the group to say, yeah, we're here and we've all got this commitment in the game. But they were a really cool group of villains to see.
Yeah, Cliff, you got any Phantom Troop thoughts?
I think the fact that they have kind of like the dynamic and like ideals of like a group of shonen heroes, which I think is cool. Like, they believe in teamwork. They're all trying to like do the best for each other. They all believe in their leader and like what they can accomplish if they work together. But because of their role in the story, like, they can suffer tremendous and horrible consequences that you would never see happen to like the main cast of a shonen show, which is a cool idea, I think. Like, even in this arc, like, so many terrible things happen to this organization that it's really interesting the way they're written. And if we're just pointing out members, off the top of my head, I like Uvo, Pakunada, Finks, and Machi. But they're all good. They're all great. I love all of them in looks and powers wise so far.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is so interesting about the Phantom Troop, I'm a big Phantom Troop fan, but I think almost everybody, I've never really talked to somebody who's watched the show and is like, I think the Phantom Troop sucks as a gang of villains, but I think one of the things that's really cool is this whole like rule set that they have, like, so that they function together and don't like, because they're obviously a group that is not like averse to killing or stealing, and so that they don't like interact with each other in a negative way. They have like the whole, if you have an argument, you got to flip a coin and then honor the coin toss, basically. I think that's really interesting to see that they then honor that most of the time, almost all of the time. They'll honor the coin toss, and then even like the whole idea of like even Crollo as the head is not irreplaceable. The goal is the whole spider, keeping the group alive is the goal. And so even if they have to abandon Crollo, they can. Then somebody else has to just take the head of become the head of the Phantom Troop after that. So I really like the rules of the Phantom Troop. I like how the organization is set up and all that. It makes me happy. But
Yeah.
Cliff, you got into. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kate.
No, you're good. I think that the coin flip also keeps them from getting into any major altercations with each other, because I feel like a lot more fights between members would happen if they didn't have that system. So I think it's really smart that they put that in place.
Right, because otherwise they'd be at each other's throats all the time. Yeah, no, I really like the little aspects of them like that. But I want to, Cliff, kind of, you started to get into this, but I want to do the same thing we did for the Mafia. So, like, which one of them do you think has the coolest look, like the coolest design, and which one was your favorite, and why for both questions? This time we'll start with Shania.
Okay. That's a tough one. They all stood out to me in their own way. I really like Machi for her abilities. I think she's really cool, and her gut instinct and the way that she looks. I think one of my favorite design though is, I'm gonna mess up her name again, Shizuku, where she's got the, like, you know, the vacuum, and like she's like this very, like, I don't know, she just looks very like put together, but then she's got like this bright vacuum, and that's just a really fun design. Like, it's not my favorite power, I just think she looks cool. And then, like, an honorable mention for Shalnark. He just doesn't look like he belongs. He feels like the jock that somehow found his way into, like, the emo poetry society. Like, even Hisoka fits a little better than he does, because everyone just seems a little bit gloomy, a little bit edgy, and he's just got all this unnecessary pep that, like, makes him a fun character to, like, look at within the troupe. Because I'm like, you don't look like you fit, buddy.
Yeah, Kate, coolest look, and then your favorite member.
I would have to go with coolest look for me is definitely Shizuki, because you see her first when she, or not first, but you see her again when she goes and arm wrestles Gon, when they're trying to make money to place bets on the game that they need. And I just think that it's so interesting that, like, she did that to basically evaluate, like, how strong he was, and, like, she lost. And, like, I just think her character design is so interesting. The way she uses Nen, like, through the vacuum thing. And, like, the rules about it are kind of, like, strange that she, like, can't, I guess, suck up anything that's still living or whatever. But, yeah, I just thought she was the coolest character design. My favorite, though, was probably Pakanoda. Just because I thought her net ability was very interesting too, and she seems like she just really wants to keep the troupe together. She has, like, this deep connection with the troupe members, and, like, she might go against like Crollo's wishes, I guess, but, like, I just think it's really interesting. She's an interesting character.
Yeah, I have a quick. I'm sorry, Cliff. We'll get to just in a moment, but that made me think of something. That's like what, like, Cliff, you were talking about, like, how, like, they face kind of, they're set up almost in like a shonen protagonist kind of way. The whole thing with Pakanoda is, like, she made the shonen protagonist decision. Like, she made the decision that was like, I'm sacrificing for my friends. That usually works out for the protagonist, but obviously, knowing the ending, we know that it did not work out for her. I don't know. It's just one of those things that, like, highlights, like, kind of those differences that you were talking about. But yeah, Cliff, coolest design, and then your favorite troop member.
Oh, man, I don't know. It's so hard to pick a favorite right now because it's just, like, so many cool characters introduced doing cool things at once. But coolest design definitely is Nobunaga, I think. I like Nobunaga the best. Coolest character? It's like Uvo, Paku, Crollo, and Machi are all really cool. It's tough. That's a tough one. Who's your favorite guy so far?
Me. My favorite member of the troop, if we count me.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite member of the troop by far is Crollo Lucilfer, if we're talking. If he counts as the leader. If I have to go beyond the leader, it's Nobunaga. But with, if Chrollo counts, Chrollo for sure. I think Chrollo's cool. I thought Chrollo was super cool for a long time. I really like Chrollo.
Yeah.
But he, my favorite design. Oh man, I asked the question, but I didn't think about what was my favorite design. That's problematic. I think my favorite design. I like how Franklin looks a lot. I know that it's not super cool, but something about like the Frankenstein with the overalls. I like it.
No, that's cool.
I
You
like-
have to beat yourself up for that. It's a Frankenstein with Tommy gun for hands. That's sick.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought he was cool. I like him. I like how he looks. But yeah, Chrollo's definitely my favorite. I think Chrollo's amazing. But let's talk about some of the there were many confrontations, fights, we might say, in this arc. What was your favorite? I guess we don't have to necessarily go favorites, but like, what are some things that you have to say about the fights in this arc? Because there were several that were like really big deals. So anybody can start, and if there's awkward silence, I'll just cut it out.
Well, one of my favorite fights probably was the very last fight that Kurapika and Uvo had, where we really saw the extent of what Kurapika's powers, being the chain user, are. Just like the fact that also just the ending of that fight was so amazing to me. Just the fact that Uvo knew that he was going to die if he kept saying this, but he did it anyways, just because of the troupe as well. Like, I just thought that was so interesting. And the fact that Kurapika can only use this, like, his strongest ability, I would dare to say, maybe not, but, like, can only use the unbreakable chains for the troupe members, just aids him so much in this battle and, like, more battles to come. But it's, like, a good showing, I think, of, like, Uvo's alliance with the troupe and, like, Kurapika's new powers.
Yeah, that fight was sick for, like, all of the above. It showcased everything that Kurapika could do, and it was just wowed me immediately, because before then I'm like, okay, Kurapika's learned some stuff, like, cool, like, let's see what he did. And I'm like, oh my word, Kurapika, you learned everything. And then he's like, haha, I am also a specialist when my eyes are red. And that was super dope. Yeah, that is the moment Kurapika became my favorite, because he was just so freaking cool. And then Uvu too, like, it was cool to see, like, the, like, epitome of his abilities, as well as how loyal he was to the troupe, where he just, like, won't give it up. And then also how Kurapika is, like, responding to torturing this man, where he, like, hates it. You can see it, that he hates everything that he's doing. But, like, you can also see the strength of his conviction that it's necessary to do, which is just such an interesting play on, like, the moral compass, because, you know, Gon and Killua seem to have a weird moral compass. The Phantom Troop have a weird moral compass. Like Gon even points out, like, oh, you can feel empathy for your friends, but not for the people you kill. And then there's Kurapika that's like, no, I will straight up murder everyone that I have to, but I will not feel an ounce of good about it. And, like, I could just, like, see that. And that was, yeah, it just made Kurapika the coolest character and coolest fight.
Yeah. During that fight, just, like, him screaming at Uvo, like, how could you do this and feel nothing? That was so powerful. That was such a good moment.
And then, yeah, and then to be met with, like, Uvo, like, he's got Uvo on the, Uvo knows he's dead, he knows he's gone, and he's, like, he's trying to get information out of Uvo, and his answer is, just kill me. Oh my word, that was so good. This is, like, that's what I look for in shonen anime. That was really, ooh, Uvo was cool there. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Cliff.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stick with that fight. Any thoughts on Kurapika versus Uvo?
Yeah, I'll go off on Uvo for a minute, because I think he's, like, the best, right? I think for the Requiem, like, scene to work, Togashi had such a short amount of time to build up a character that deserves that level of hype. And I feel like he nailed it with Uvo. And I think the thing that makes Uvo cool is like the entire, like every single scene he's in, he doesn't like flinch. He doesn't quit no matter what circumstances he's put in. You know, he's like, he is paralyzed from the neck down by 3 of like the top assassins in the world, right? He doesn't flinch. He's captured by a bodyguard like group under the mafia. He doesn't flinch. He's giving them advice like, you guys should kill me because my boys are on the way. Like, let's get this done if you're gonna do it. Because they like, and then like it's not even smack talk. He's right. Like they get killed that day, and then like the fight was amazing. The only time he turns it off is when his only option is to sell out the troupe or to die. And then it's like, it's a switch. It's immediate. And he just gives up. And he's the coolest. I love Uvo. What a great character. And that's another good design. I don't know if I shout out his design, but I like his caveman design. I like any character who enters a room by kicking the door off the hinges and then headbutting the door frame off the wall. Like, that's just how he enters a room. And then he shotguns a beer. Like, he's cool. And he's great. Pees out worms. Nothing phases this man. I like Uvo.
Yeah, Uvo's awesome. Uvo's super cool. Uvo, especially I love like, and even like, so like, really we don't spend that long with him. Like, you know, if you think about it, it's maybe like what, 5 to 10 episodes, maybe, right? I mean, maybe even.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we don't spend that long with him. But like, the impact that he then has on the rest of the arc going forward is huge. I mean, you think about like what it does to Nobunaga, like I think about in particular, and how like part of the reason that he's so like intent on, he's like, oh, I want Gon to join, is because he thinks that they're similar. He finds like a similar kind of personality in Gon, as he does in Nobunaga, and that, yeah, I just think it's interesting how he impacts the rest of the arc, and how the troupe reacts, you know, during the rest of the arc. Obviously, the Requiem being one of the things, but yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. I think we should probably talk about the fact that we saw 2 of the Zoldyaks fight, or really technically 3. We didn't really see one of them fight, but so. Thoughts on the Crollo versus Zeno and Silva fight, and like kind of how that I think that shows some interesting things, but I want to hear what, you know, Kate and Shania, what you guys have to say. Shania, we'll start with you then.
Yeah, so I was feeling really hyped going into that fight because I was like, okay, we're about to see the patriarchs go to town, and that proved to be the coolest fight. One, to see their abilities and to see what kind of Nen and stuff that they were capable of, as well as seeing Crollo at more of his full potential. I guess not quite totally, because he was spending a lot of time trying to capture some Nen, but just, it was a super cool fight. It was super hype, but I love that what ended the fight is Illumi calling from, you know, wherever he was at, wherever the 10 Dons were, and being like, hey, so I killed the Dons. And then the Zoldyaks are like, oh, right, okay, well, if no one's going to pay us for this, guess we'll just stop here then. Which was then really interesting about how the Zoldyaks function, because they say that, you know, they don't enjoy killing. And I'm like, if your whole generation of family has been killing, like, I kind of feel like you like it. Like, as the viewer, I feel like there are other ways to get paid here. So you got to enjoy this at least somewhat. But they just stopped. And that begs the question, like, would they have called Illumi if they had killed Crollo and be like, hey, you don't gotta kill those 10 Dons anymore because your guy's dead? Just felt like a race against assassinations here.
Yeah, I thought during the fight it was so amazing how like Zeno and Silva were evaluating what Crollo was doing and then changing their actions based on that. It really, I think, showcases how like serious of assassins and how much training and like experience that they've had in these situations, that they're able to do that. And I just think that the phrase that they were saying, like, we're not getting paid enough, is like the only way that they will admit something is kind of difficult. And they still won't even say like, oh, this is a hard mission. They'll just say, we're not getting paid enough for this. I just thought that was really cool and kind of funny.
Yeah, I love how cocky they are. That line is great. And then when they show up and they like, everybody's trying to do code names and they just like hand out their business card with their home address like they're so sick.
Yeah. They are super sick. I love like I really liked this. I thought it showed some really cool things about maybe not so much Silva, but definitely Zeno, where like at one point, like at the end, he was like, Killua was like, could I kill you? And Zeno was like, or could I beat you? And Zeno was like, if you were trying to kill me, but you weren't. Like Zeno was like, you are strong. I imagine you're stronger than I am if you were going all out, but you weren't going all out. And the whole like, I disagree with Shinnok. We talked about this too earlier in the week, but I disagree that the Zoldyaks enjoy killing. I don't think that they enjoy killing. I think it is just a job. But I don't, and by that I mean like I don't think they derive like any kind of weird pleasure from it. A la Hisoka, maybe we could reference from the last arc. I don't think any kind of weird pleasure is derived from it. I think it is just a job, but like I like how like I don't know, it feels very like robotic. Like they're just there like, and at one point Zeno's like, I'm gonna pin him down and then you get him with your nen, and if you gotta kill me too, kill me. Like it's very like matter of fact. Like they're just like they're performing surgery. They're like, it just feels like it feels very direct, and I kind of like it. I like the way it feels. It's very assassinating.
I think that it's kind of hard to gauge just because it doesn't really seem like they enjoy anything.
That's fair.
There's really, like, honestly, it doesn't seem like either of them, like, really feel much, I would say. So I think, like, enjoyment might be going too far, but I do kind of think, like, oh, this is just the job that they're doing, and they don't really feel anything about anything because of that job.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Maybe they don't have a whole lot of feelings to give. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, so I guess before I totally move on, is there any other like fights that you really had like thoughts about or wanted to talk about? Anybody? If not, that's okay. And I will also cut out the awkward silence. I'm going to take your awkward silence to mean that the answer is no.
You're asking like a thinky question. I'm trying to think of all the...
Okay,
fights.
all right.
I don't know. Who else? The Corolla fight with that one guy who was like alive, but like 3 pieces of a man. Ooh. That was pretty insane. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. That was creepy. Oh. That was...
Yeah.
Those bonefishes are messed up. That's a messed up ability.
Are we gonna do like a whole Nobunaga section, or do you want to like? I love that part where he's like got them in the room together.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna go because we haven't talked about Gon and Killua at all.
Yeah.
And so I was just gonna go there.
Okay.
In the Gon and Killua direction. But we can talk about that now. There's no reason we can't talk about that.
Yeah, wherever you want to go.
Let's go. Let's go there. Let's talk about Gon and Killua and maybe their whole interaction with the troupe. We'll start, at the beginning. Well, I don't know. Thoughts? Gon and Killua, 2 12-year-old boys, maybe 13. I don't know how old they are at this point, but 2 probably 12-year-old boys interacting with a group of S-class criminals or whatever they call them in this world. What do you guys think about that? Kate, we'll start with you. I feel like we start with Shania a couple times.
I just think that, even though Gon knows how powerful the troupe members are, he fought Hisoka himself, he knows that all of them are incredibly powerful, how he still just has this we can do anything attitude is just fantastic to me. Even when he gets captured by the troupe, he still has the attitude and the perspective that we can't give up. We can beat them. We can get out of here. I just think that it's amazing that Gon still has that perspective, even though he's seen how powerful that they are.
Yeah, Gon's really got that upbeat, can do anything attitude. I thought it was a weird not really a weird, but a bit of a reset this arc where I feel like we just passed through an arc where Gon and Killua became like top tier, like super powerful, super strong, and then this arc almost felt like a reset. Like they're going back to the basics of trying to, get this money, get strong enough, and then Kurapika's there like killing the game, and then for part of this, Gon and Killua are just like trying to sell art, which felt like the weirdest like side plot happening. But it was weird to see them like almost powerless again, where like I felt like they had scaled so high, and then in the face of the Phantom Troupe there wasn't much that they seemed able to do despite how Gon believed in them. So I don't know, I thought that was really interesting just to see the power scaling change again.
Yeah, Cliff, any thoughts about Gon and Killua and the troupe?
Gon and Killua and the troupe. I think Gon's like childlike naivety matched with the troope's like cold pessimism led to like a lot of really, really good moments. Like I like when he's talking to Finks and he's like getting all mad and he's yelling at him and he's like, if you take one more step, I'm gonna break your neck, kid. And he's like, well then I'm not gonna take another step. And he just sits there and grunt.
It's awesome.
And like the whole arm wrestling match with Nobunaga, like that was a beautiful little moment they had there. And I think the whole like Nobunaga just as a character is really interesting. I really like the way that he dealt with loss in this arc. Where he's like, I don't have to be sad. I got I got a little new baby Uvogen. I don't have to worry about it. Like he's totally in denial. And I like their dynamic. I think they have my favorite dynamic between Gon and all the troupe. I thought that was cool.
Gon and Nobunaga?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't actually think about that. It is probably like denial. Like it's gotta be, right? Like that's why he's like, I have another one. So Uvo's not really gone. I didn't think about it that way. Huh. I really love the moment that
I think that's why he's like,
I'm sorry.
He's just always like, Killua is like not even in the room. Like when they're talking, he's always like, feels nothing for him. Like he's like, you can join too, but I really want the new baby Uvo. That's what I'm in it for.
Right. I'm not really after you. You could be here, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I really like the arm wrestling moment with Uvo is really cool. I love what it shows for both. Like, you can obviously see his grit. Like he's trying to like get out his grief by just pounding this child's arm into the concrete. Because he's just still so frustrated trying to find Kurapika. But Gon takes it back. The one win that Gon has against Nobunaga is because he gets so mad because he's like, he just doesn't understand. It doesn't make any sense to him why they would be upset that someone died if they're willing to kill people. I really like that. I would have to say Gon and Nobunaga is probably my favorite relationship with the troupe too.
Yeah, it's just
like,
a couple unhinged enhancers who don't understand each other, so they're just punching each other in an arm wrestling match for 3 hours straight.
It's really good. Yeah, it is very interesting. But so, kind of maybe broadening it out. Where there seemed to be like a lot, and Shania, you kind of hinted on it a little bit too. But like, there seemed to be like a lot of the stuff with Gon, Killua, and Leorio for most of this arc seemed to be kind of like outside of like the intense action stuff. So I was kind of wondering, like, what moments like stood out to you guys when you were watching Kate and Shania when you were watching. We'll start with Kate. Like with that little crew and even Zapile who comes in later. Is there anything like stuck out, like that you were like, oh, this is really cool, wanted to talk about?
Yeah, like I thought that it was cool that they met up almost immediately when Gon and Killua got to Yorknew City, and I thought it was really interesting how they're trying to figure out basically how they can make enough money to win the bet for this game. And Leorio's like, oh, I have the perfect solution. We're gonna like trick people by having this kid, like, saying, like, oh, we're gonna arm wrestle, and that you can win this, like, $3 million diamond or whatever if you win, and just, like, tricking people to get money. And I thought that like, even though, like, Gon seems very innocent, and, like, usually I think the, like, shonen main character route is like, oh no, I'm not gonna do something that's wrong, I'm not gonna trick people. But Gon is like, wow, that's, like, a great idea, I never thought about that.
But I love then that he develops, like, they start to think he's getting fatigued during the arm wrestling, but the reason he's having a cold sweat is because he's having such inner turmoil about deceiving people because it's not hard at all. And so he's got a cold sweat. He's shonen protagonist stressing out here because he's not being honest.
Yeah, it's definitely that whole arm wrestling thing. I think it's hilarious that, like, when they get found out, you know, that what I assumed was the mafia guy finds him and takes him to, like, the underground arm wrestling ring, and Leorio was like, I knew it all along. Like, why does he think that exists? What would give him that impression? I don't. There's a lot like that.
I like that Leorio became, like, his group dynamic changed from like just another member of the team to, like, now he's like a skeezy kind of like dad. Like, he just showed up and did dad stuff for, like, the whole arc. Like, it's like, oh cool, dad met us in the city, bought us cell phones. He's gonna look up that video game we won on eBay, and, like, the whole like car thing with Kurapika where he's having, like, a manic episode, and Leorio was like, I will turn this car around if you two don't stop back there.
Yeah.
I just really...
Dang, Leorio really did become dad during this time, though. Because that's so true. I didn't even think about that until now. But, like, he shows up and buys the two of them new phones. Like, here you go, kids. This'll work for you, I guess.
Yeah, it really complements the whole, like, Leorio is just randomly useful. Like, he comes in, gets good phones, gets a good underground hookup, great getaway driver, good subliminal hints on the phone, but it's like the most random tasks end up being Leorio's, and it's just kind of fun to see, like, what he does.
Yeah, he's great.
It was so interesting to like see their beginnings, their interaction at the beginning, where, like, Leorio thinks that he knows a lot about Nen, but then, like, Gon and Killua keep asking him deeper questions, and he's like, I didn't even know there was more.
Yeah, he was so confident too. He's like, oh yeah, I mastered this. And they're like, and Gon's so very kindly just like, so that's, like, actually step one. And Leorio's face is he's just like, there's more. And I'm like, oh, Leorio, you got a lot to do, buddy. It's okay though, we're here for you.
Yeah, I really loved how we were having, like, the most exciting, like, crime thriller of all time happening on the other side of the city. And then, like, our main characters are, like, doing Pawn Stars with some guy we've never met before for, like, 4 episodes. And, like, it was good. I almost was like, oh, good, we're back to the good stuff. Like, what's the pile going to teach us today?
It's awesome.
I really like Zapile. Is it Zeppeli or Zapile? I read the books.
I have no idea. I can go with Zeppeli. That's fine.
Okay.
I
don't know. What did anybody hear it?
I just looked at the word. Yeah.
The anime says Zapile.
Oh, Zapile. Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm open to whatever you want to call him, but
Zapile sounds more right to me, but he was great. I liked him a lot for, like, just a weird out of nowhere minor character. I think, like, he made these really like his crappy little pot that he, like, is trying to buy back because he feels bad for scamming people because he's made it. Like, that's such a sweet little moment, and he's just helping out the kids. They just go and kill. I have a lot of dads in this arc taking care of them.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, but one of the funniest moments was, like, coming back and, like, Leorio and him were supposed to be doing research, and they came back and they were just getting drunk. And just, like, completely out of it, and, like, then Leorio offers the other two of them a drink. These 12-year-olds. He's
hey,
here you
just
go.
two dads after a long day, you know?
Yeah.
No, but Zapile was so fun, and I loved Gon's reaction where he's like, you know, he's buying back the counterfeit stuff because he's like, you know, I made them and they're crap, and Gon's like, listen here, they have so much net in them, you put so much love in them, don't you dare talk bad about yourself. And I'm like, okay, Gon, like, go off then.
I like that it's like purely about how much Nen is in them too. It's like they do look like garbage, but I can tell you put a lot of effort into this garbage.
He's really about the passion there.
And the funny part is like Gon and Killua have no idea if these items are actually valuable. They're just like, oh, I bet you if they have Nen, they probably have some worth, so let's try that out.
Yeah, and then I think Zapao makes like the most like profound analysis about Gon as he realizes like Gon doesn't really have a moral compass of something being good or bad. It's just if something interests Gon, he wants to know all about it. Like, he learns all about counterfeiting art. Is he ever going to do anything with that? I feel like he's probably not, unless you account for, like, his little escape plan when he's fighting with Nobu. But otherwise, like, he just, like, learns all this stuff for, like, no reason other than the fact that he finds it interesting. And Zapao's like, so he doesn't really have a right or wrong. He has a, this interests me or this doesn't.
Yeah, I love that analysis. I think that's really cool. Zapao's great. That's also, that outfit is, well, his whole design is like insane to me. Like jeans with, are they basketball shorts over the jeans? Like, it's the craziest look I've ever seen. Or cargo
And
shorts.
His face looks like strange too. Like, it doesn't look like he has a normal person face.
Why does he have like Rock Lee eyebrows that like curl like Sanji's
the eyebrows
at the
are
end?
so
like,
good.
Why is
I
going
love
on?
this guy. This is the best guy introduced in the arc. I love Zapao.
Super sideways. Zapao's awesome. I gotta say, watching this, I was like, just the fact that he like bid the most on the thing that he knew was worth nothing. Like, he knew it was his piece of crap, but he felt bad that it was out there. I'm sitting here like, I feel that, Zapao. I feel that you're like, I gotta get this out of here. I really liked Zapao. I thought that when they came back and him and Leorio were smashed, that was hilarious too. But yeah. So yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention. So there's another moment that I liked, like Gon and Killua. Yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about those two a whole lot, but so we'll transition there. But there's another part that I thought was kind of funny when they're in the park waiting for Kurapika, and like Gon like spits his food up on Killua, and so Killua like comes up behind him with just a whole pie, and slams it in Gon's face, like while they're having a serious conversation. I liked it. It was funny.
That's cute stuff. Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, all right. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was my bad. Anyway,
I like it.
Yeah.
Apparently was not as cute as Porcupine.
It's hard to
Anyway.
get to that level.
And it is years of training. Anyway, so no, let's talk about Gon and Killua's relationship, because I think like some things were like set out this arc that like, you know, kind of give more insight into you know how they work together and how their friendship is going to grow. We kind of said a little bit about this in the beginning, but Shania, I guess we'll start with you. Is there anything stood out about Gon and Killua's relationship? Anything you can think of that you wanted to talk about?
I don't know so much that it stood out, but I guess like the first thing that comes to mind is like the little discussion they have right after they escape from the troupe the first time, and you know, Gon makes the statement that like Killua is the one who reins him in, where, you know, Gon goes everything, flies by the seat of his pants, like just puts his all into whatever, and Killua's kind of the one there to like redirect the trajectory so Gon doesn't mess up. Because like, I mean, just before that, I am fairly confident what happened behind the scenes is Gon was just chilling in this hallway waiting for I keep blanking on everyone's name, this Nobunaga to come and fight with him, and I only have to picture that Killua just like appears out of nowhere, claps a hand over Gon's mouth, and just like launches them out the window and away from this place, because Gon is like, no, I'm gonna fight, and Killua's like, you cannot be more of an idiot, but unfortunately you are my idiot, so I have to help you. And I just like, I see that dynamic throughout. Like, Gon would not do well without Killua, but I don't think Killua would have as much motivation to do things if not for Gon. So I feel like they really work together as a unit very well.
Yeah, they definitely complement each other really well. And I do love what you were talking about. Kind of Killua has this big brother almost attitude towards Gon, where he's like, all right, like we have to get out of here, like this isn't gonna work, we get it, you're a straightforward enhancer, but let's go, let's like actually live today, please. And like Gon is just the straightforward guy. He just wants to get these fights over with, and he wants to do his stuff. So
Yeah. Cliff, any Gon Killua camaraderie moments?
Just this is the same kind of stuff. I did like Kate said. I like the whole arc of like, let's just go stalk these infamous serial killers all day and see what happens. Like, let's just roll the dice on this all day, every day. And it never ends well every time. And I like that. I like their Nobunaga stuff. Okay, should we do that now? Should we just get into Nobunaga for a little bit?
Yeah. Go for it.
I thought that whole little arc that they went on in there was really nice. Where it's like Killua was like doubting himself. He was gonna throw it all away right then and there. Like, that's how much he loves Gon. That's how much of a ride or die friend he is. And Gon just being like, stop, this is dumb. That's not what we're gonna do to get out of here. It was great. And then Zapile, his advice, his sage words saved the day. They would not be alive today if it weren't for Zapile.
Thank you.
And his counterfeit advice.
I agree entirely that the counterfeit advice was maybe crucial to escaping this situation. If anyone wants to comment about that.
So here's
yeah,
what
Go
ahead, Kate. No, go ahead, Kate.
No, do it. Go,
Kate, you were not the one that I was referencing, but that's fine.
Sorry.
Is it me or is it
No,
Kate?
you can go.
Somebody's got it.
All right, I got this. No.
Ahead, Shania.
So
that wasn't even for me. So yeah, just
yeah, okay. So with the Zapile advice, what I could not decide from how Gon went about it and the fact that he is an obtuse enhancer, I'm like really wondering if he was like trying to subtly hint to Killua his exit strategy being to like make their own opening, or if he like, legit as he's facing his prison sentence here, he's just trying to remember, and by remembering they come up with the best escape plan. I'm like, was that deliberate scheming on Gon's part? Because it feels a little too intellectual for him, honestly. Thoughts?
I feel like he thought about that plan and he's just trying to convey it to Killua in like a way that won't be like, we could escape by kicking the wall, because the Nobunaga could just obliterate them both in 1 second.
Right,
that's how I read it.
yeah, that's kind of how I read it too. Just like, I think it shows their bond too, and being able to kind of say that to each other without saying that, but Nobunaga still not understanding where they were going with it, but they can understand it from each other.
I like that Nobunaga gets stuck in a lot of like stupid like in the middle situations, and because he has a dumb like enhancer monkey brain, he can't like do anything for like a couple seconds. Like when Al throws the cape over the car, he just like crosses his eyes and is the only guy to get hit. Like, I think that's pretty great.
It's awesome. And then the whole time he's just yelling in the car.
Yeah.
you gotta give me just screaming his head off. He like doesn't stop.
I thought that was so funny too, because I think one of them like says like, oh, he wasn't in the ideal position. He was in the middle, so he couldn't get out.
Yeah, no, it's there's like several moments with the Phantom Troupe that I thought were like actually funny. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of times that group, the like villain group, is like dark and brooding, but like every once in a while I was like, that's kind of funny actually.
Oh yeah, there's some good stuff. Uvo kissing Shalnark on the cheek because he like knows how to use Google. I thought that was great.
That was awesome. And Shalnark looks all weird about it. Like, it's
Uvo
really
and
funny.
Shalnark have like such a beautiful like dumb guy and smart guy relationship. Where he's like, all you gotta do is drink beer and you should pee him out. He's like, that's great. You're great. I love you for saying that. I'm gonna do that right now.
They're also fun. I like towards the end too with Shalnark, where they're like, they're talking on the phone to Kurapika, and it's his phone, and they keep throwing it, and he's getting more and more stressed out. He's like, please, it's my phone. I do everything with that. Can you not throw the thing, please? I'm like, Shawnar, just calm down, buddy. We're okay.
That's a great Finks moment, too. That made me laugh the hardest of anything that happened in this entire segment is when they're, like, negotiating with Kurapika. And he's like, don't hurt my friends. And he's like, well, they broke some bones when we got here. And he just hangs up the phone. He has to call him back. And he's like, I'm sorry, they're fine.
That moment was so funny. It was so funny.
He said it with like so much confidence.
I know.
Too, being like, yeah, well, we broke a few bones, and then B, like, it's just done. He was like, oh, crap.
The delight on his face that he would get to snap some child bones was really good.
It's a lot of delight. It was a lot of delight.
Maybe this is like bouncing away a little bit, but as I'm thinking about that, like, you know, we had to break a few bones, like Killua and Gon's like little escape thing as they're waiting in that hotel lobby, like their attempt was super cool. Like Killua just casually dislocates his arms to get out of Machi's thing, and then gets his hand stuck in her abs, and I'm like, okay, Machi, just show off your ab day, I guess.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's
that
so
was
sick.
like really, it was like so quick. It was like a 5-second thing, and it was just like one of the most hype moments because so much happened.
Yeah, that's another one where it's like, Leorio, you were here, and you were not a lot, but you were so cool for that 1 second. And I like that he's like, you know what, we'll throw the knife. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get someone.
Yeah. And I like how they comment on Leorio's involvement. They just have like a brief moment where they go, that guy was involved in this? And I'm like, yeah, it surprised us too.
Yeah, that whole blackout thing was great. Oh, go ahead, Kate.
No, I just think that was the perfect role in this scenario for Leorio. Because he's like so, like, I think a good over-the-top kind of actor.
Yeah.
That he can make it seem like that was just the perfect fit for him in this situation, I think.
Yeah, no, it was really good. So, like, is there anything that we haven't covered? Anything you wanted to touch on, talk about, that we haven't gotten to yet?
I mean, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to have like a little like Kurapika appreciation minute? Because it seems like you guys have been like shouting him out this whole time, but I didn't get like a lot of specifics from you guys. It's just like every time we drove past him, you're like, "That's the coolest guy of all time." Like, do you want to just get it all out for a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna let mine out when we were talking about our new favorites.
Oh,
he's
gotcha.
My new favorite, but
Oh, I'll go off about Kurapika now. He was hands down
All right.
the coolest thing. He showed up, and I was like expecting him to be low key, but like I feel like I kind of hyped him up a lot with Uvu, but he just everything that he did, like he just all this power that he has from the get-go when he shows up at like his like little like assassin or not assassin the bodyguard recruitment meeting, whatever, quickly spots who the inside man is, quickly figures out how to resolve this issue, and just from the get-go, I was like, all right, Kurapika, you are a new man. And then seeing what he's done with all these abilities and these contracts he's made and like the strength of his resolve and everything that he can do with it, he just became so hype. But he still has his moral conviction, and I also love him being paired with Melody. I did not give her much love earlier, but like them as a pair is so cool because she can read him so well and calms him down so well, even when she's not like using her magic flute stuff. Just like her talking to him can bring him down a notch, and so just there was lots of cool Kurapika development, both in like who he is as a person and in his ability, and I am definitely on the Kurapika hype squad now.
Yeah, his like Melody relationship is very sweet. They're just like a couple of sweethearts with some demons they got to get over. I like them as a group a lot.
Yeah. I will say, so like the moment that I was like, Kurapika's amazing, was when he was waiting in the hotel room for Uvo, and Uvo walks in and is like, wow, ballsy, you waited here alone. And then he's like, where do you want to fight? And he's like, a deserted area so that no one will hear you scream when I kill you. And I'm like, Holy cow! That's a lot of hype, Kurapika, for a man you just watched single-handedly destroy the 10 best assassins in the mafia.
Yeah.
No, but he burns him in that moment too. He's like, so nobody hears your annoying screams, basically, around this area. Like he's really digging the knife in there.
I also like the way he like approaches the Nen system. It's like, I am gonna hack this system, so I am nothing but like a spider destroyer. It really, like, we knew he was motivated before, and we knew like how passionate he was about his cause, but like he is throwing the concept of having superpowers away to dedicate everything in his body to this, like putting his life on the line to this singular focus, which is, I think, adds a lot to why it's like one of the sickest Nen powers revealed in this section.
Yeah,
and like I can't remember like his master's name, but I remember like when his master first told him that like he could make a contract like that, and he immediately bets his life. Like, just like that kind of commitment and just jumping into it. Like, obviously his teacher was like, no, let's stop, like, Kurapika, no, like, I told you to bet, like, no, that's not good, don't go for your life right away. But like, he's just, that's how all in he is about destroying the spiders, though.
Yeah, and then even, like, training himself to, like, turn on the red eyes at will, which I love because his master's like, yeah, your chance of being a specialist is, like, 0%. Like, that's just not what you are. And Kurapika's like, shut up, man, I'll be what I want to be, and just trains himself to do that. Also, honorable mention that before his fight with Uvu, he lets Uvu pee out the leeches, which I just thought was a really unnecessary moment to include, but also a little funny.
Yeah, no, I would let him pee out the leeches too. That's
cool. That's good of you, man. I appreciate that.
Those leeches are. Oh, that was no good. That was
a
no
really
good.
great Uvo
I was
moment
upset
too, where he's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing in my neck right now?" Like freaking out about how disgusting the situation is.
Yeah. No, it was super disgusting.
Also, talk about how gross it is, but then biting a man's skull off and spitting it through another guy's head like is a response. Like that was so very good gross. That is the exact kind of gross that I'm looking for. That was so great to watch.
It's a sliding scale on what really is gross and what isn't. Just go up or down. Well, I had something to say.
You let him pee out the leeches, Kurapika.
I did let him pee out the leeches. I would certainly let him pee out the leeches. I would certainly let him do that. Yeah, I don't have anything. Anybody else can go. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Just about anything?
No, it was about Kurapika, but
oh, okay.
I don't remember. Oh, there it is. He's responsible for the 2 deaths in the Phantom Truth that we saw, and the crippling of its leader.
Yeah.
Like, it's just him. Yeah. It's not the Mafia and him. It's not Gon and Killua and him. It's just him.
Yeah. And he lost nothing. He saved his friends, too.
Everything worked out.
Yeah.
And there were 2 dead troop members. He is on his way.
Yeah, he did damage this arc.
I'm just saying, that's...
As far as accomplishing goals go, I think he's off to a pretty good start, I would say.
I'm saying he's doing the best out of all of our main guys. Leoria's not a doctor yet. Kurapika's got 2 troop members down.
Well, Killua is pretty friendly with Gon, so he's probably the winner.
Okay. All right. Bringing it
Call
back around
to the pie scene, They're good friends.
Yeah. I like the pie scene.
I love the pie scene. What did you want me to say to that? It's good.
No, I don't know. It's just,
dissect this pie scene. 2-hour analysis on the pie scene.
Please. It was just a fun pie scene.
It's a fun pie. I agree. It's great. Yeah. Can we talk about Paku for a minute? Because she was cool too.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
She did like the same thing Uvo did, but better. Like honestly, she, like we say that Kurapika lost nothing, but now that I'm thinking about it, most of the troop, well, they're just gonna tell the other one. So all of the troop knows exactly how to kill this guy, what he looks like. He is in trouble. This is really bad the spot he's in.
Yeah, I thought she was really cool, and it was like weird because like I didn't really have any feelings towards her like either way. Like she hadn't really stuck out to me until like that like final like episode or two with her where she just proves to be like the most loyal, the most willing to sacrifice, as she's just like, all right, I've got 6 bullets for these people, like this is what I'm gonna do with literally my last moment, and just gives them like the ultimate power that they're apparently not gonna use right away, but still it was just a super dope ending moment, and they like managed to build her up so much in that like bit of time we got to focus on her that like I felt it when she died. I was like, oh, that's actually really sad.
Yeah, it was a beautiful character.
That moment was just, I think, so amazing because she found the exact way that she could convey the information to all of the troop members while, like, still staying alive to tell every single one of them. Like, she figured out the way that she could do that. And, like, and it ended up costing her life, but like to her, I feel like that was worth it then to avenge like the dead troop member and like Crollo's like lost powers and everything.
Well, because correct me if I'm wrong, but like otherwise they wouldn't know what happened to Crollo because he's not allowed to talk to them, right? That's why he could talk with Ahsoka, is because Ahsoka showed that he wasn't a member. But like he's not allowed to talk to the troop.
So good. That like face where everything Ahsoka did this whole arc had been building up to this moment. Like one of the greatest fights in Hunter x Hunter. He's like, I will die immediately if I even try to fight you. It's so sad.
Yeah. Ahsoka's like not even, he gets like so sad. He's like not even interested anymore.
He like
He's
sulks
like,
back to the blimp like, all right. Yeah. I guess we're going home.
Leaves the shirt off just like he does, like all the way back in, just like he's carrying the shirt in one hand, just upset. Pago Nodo's still in the blimp, like they go home together.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no,
because that's like all he wanted this whole time was just to fight him, and then it finally gets to the moment.
Yeah, Hisoka really like rewrote everyone's fate here. Like the troop would have been fine, like they were preparing to be fine, and then Hisoka gets his fortune told, and then he like swaps it out when he shows everyone and causes this whole like mental process to go down, and it just shows how like conniving Hisoka is. Because he does all of this in a way that makes Crollo have this assumption, so they all end up staying there for this big fight. And so Hisoka becomes literally a mastermind to do all of this, and then he gets to his final showdown moment, and his face is just perfect, where Crollo's like, yeah, so I don't got Nen anymore, and Hisoka's like, well, you're a broken freaking toy, thanks for this. No fun at all.
The bungee gum is like on paper like not that great, but like Hisoka makes it like the greatest power in Hunter x Hunter with like his psychotic mind and application like that. I love when he changes his whole fortune. He came up with a whole like 4 stanza poem. Like after you would be peeing your pants in that situation, and he concocted this entire poem by himself in the time it takes like to walk over to him.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's so fast. When that happened, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way I could even." I'm not one line in to the poem. By the way.
Yeah.
By the time I have to hand it over, they're like looking at it. It's like half done. They're like, "What happened to your poem? Why is it cut off?"
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a flex too, because he didn't need to come up with all 4 weeks, did he?
Right. He could have just stopped it. He could have said he was one of the ones that died.
Oh, he's cool. I like Hisoka.
Hisoka is cool. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else that we didn't cover yet? Want to talk about?
I wouldn't say this is like necessarily important to talk about, but a little fun thing I saw in the anime, at least. I don't know if reading it was there, but there's one scene with the mafia boss's daughter, Neon, which one just a little side comment on her. I felt she was like, for having such a cool power, she was like that super annoying airhead character. But also she had this phone case, and on the phone case there was like these little charms from Yu Yu Hakusho, which I just thought was like a really fun nod, because it's got like a little poo on it and then like 2 other things. I was like, that's from his other show. That's so fun to put in there. And I just thought that was like a fun little Easter egg to notice.
That is really great. There was another one. It was like his first manga ever. That guy shows up in Heaven's Arena as like, I don't know if you guys remember. There's like one time where like this really old guy like interrupts the announcer like in the booth. And it's like he just has really good Easter eggs in there.
Is that what that is?
That's from his other manga.
Whoa.
I didn't know that at all. And I was like, when he showed up, I was like, are we just never going to address that again?
Yeah, I think his name's like Baka Ki El Dagra. He's like an alien prince, and like that's what he is. Because I remember that. Yeah, I like the Easter eggs, but this one's much better, much cuter, and people have read Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know if anybody's read Level E in a long time.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, now I know who that guy is. Yeah. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Cool. Then let's go favorite characters. We'll do it in the order that we introduced ourselves. So I guess I'll start. Kurapika. Pencils down. Next.
Killua, forever and always.
No surprise, Kurapika, if that was not clear at all.
Yeah, and again, no surprise, yes, Kurapika. Yeah.
Hey, you flipped on me. The Killua love is gone.
Sorry, all right?
What?
Listen,
Kurapika almost cleaned
I might
house.
come back. I gotta see some more, you know.
We got arcs. We got several arcs to go. Who knows what'll happen?
That's true. We got time.
But
we'll get back.
We got time. But Kurapika nearly cleaning house this arc, which makes a whole lot of sense. Except for Cliff sticking it out with Killua. Not letting Killua slip. Good for you.
Thanks, man.
Oh yeah. So, Kate and Shania, this arc compared with the previous arcs, how are we feeling about it? Kate, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about the Yorknew City arc compared to Heaven's Arena and the Hunter exam? How you feeling?
I really, really liked this arc. I think Heaven's Arena might still be my favorite arc.
Wow, that's interesting.
Right now. Yeah, I like Heaven's Arena kind of better. I don't know, like, I just thought, like, watching Killua and Gon, like, grow their powers, it was, I don't know. But, like, introducing, I think the Phantom Troupe is, like, definitely one of my favorite villain groups, probably, of all time. So, like, it's a hard balance for me. But, like, I really, really love this arc. I loved, like, what we got to see from Kurapika, because we didn't get to see a lot of that last arc, so... Yeah.
Yeah, so far there's been no arc that's made me feel like this one wasn't so good. I love them as they come in. So like this arc I think is my favorite, just with like the new development and stuff like that. But you're right, like the training arc with Gon and Killua before and like seeing them come into their powers was really cool. I just feel like kind of the trend for me is going to be like with each new arc, that one becomes my favorite because like I've gotten to know characters more and seen a lot of more like powers and their development, stuff like that. So yeah, this was a really cool arc. Like all the characters that we met who were cool, even if they were only there for like 5 seconds, it was really fun.
Yeah, I think this arc for me is like where it's like Hunter x Hunter was like an A+ already, like this whole time. But like for something about Yorknew, I'm like, this is where it becomes like a masterpiece. Like the Phantom Troupe, Ubogen's Requiem, all the Kurapika stuff, like the Zapile, the greatest character ever. It's like all really cool. This is where I remember being like, thinking this is going to be one of my favorite series ever. Like I really like this arc a lot.
Yeah. I think this. I'm pretty sure. At least it was the last time that I watched it. That this is my favorite arc in the whole show. So
really,
I definitely love. Yeah, I do. At least the last time I watched it, that's what I had said. So that could change this time, but
yeah,
last time this was my favorite arc. But we've got a lot of show left, so who knows what will happen. But I mean, yeah, Cliff, I agree with like everything you said. It's amazing. It is the thing that's like, oh, this is like one of the best things in existence. It pushes it, just that one step further from this is a great anime and manga to like this is masterclass. But yeah, so if you guys don't have anything else, that'll do it for this week. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you liked anything that we had to say, definitely like the video. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be doing this every other week. Next time, we are going into the Greed Island arc, which will be episodes 59 to 75 if you're watching with us, and chapters 120 to 185 if you're reading along with us. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time at the Pillowfort.